top stories, police investigating officer-involved shooting incident, strong turnout for Prime Minister's monthly health walk, and Water Department to replace paper bills with e-billing process. We'll be right back with the details after this.
Without limits, happy and free. The skin you're in with no apology. The one to seize the day. Grab an LLB, live, love, be. With LLB, live, love, be. Live, love, be. Be who you know you can be. Grab an LLB, live, love, be. Angostura, lemon, lime and bitters. Live, love, be.
In your formative years, we were there. When you got the good news and the bad, we were right there with you. Through all your great adventures, we were always right by your side. Now that life has thrown us a curveball, we are still here. And as we navigate this difficult period, the SKCCU will continue to be there for you and your family to help you through. We will assist you in safely and efficiently accessing your funds through our digital platforms, online banking, mobile banking, ATMs, and even our drive-through services. We can get through this together with responsible financial decisions by making food and medication a priority, practicing proper hygiene, maintaining social distancing, and constant prayer.
We're here for you. We're still here.
We will get through this together.
SKCCU will continue to be your financial partner for life.
Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Major Newscast. I'm Jason Davis. The police are investigating a shooting incident in Sandy Point on the weekend that involved a police officer. According to a police source, the incident happened on Saturday afternoon and has left one civilian injured with a gunshot wound to the foot. The details of the incident are still unclear as investigations are underway. We'll have more information as it becomes available. Regular walk participants welcomed members of the Molyneux Keon Cricket Club who joined Prime Minister Dr. the Honourable Timothy Harris on his monthly health walk on Saturday morning. Star of the walk was Lucina Chapman of Claygut in Gingerland, Nevis, whose birthday was on the previous day and who received a token from the Prime Minister in honour of the celebration. Resident Ambassador of the Republic of China Taiwan, His Excellency Tom Lee, who is a regular participant, was among those who had assembled at the Bellevue bus stop for the walk. He was accompanied by members of the Taiwan Technical Mission in St. Kitts and Nevis. Regular Prime Minister monthly health walk participants who showed up included Permanent Secretaries Dr. Dolores Stapleton Harris of Health and William Vincent Hodge of Education, Deputy Speaker Senator the Honourable Dr. Bernicia Nisbet, Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly Trevlyn Stapleton, and medical practitioner Dr. Dale Crawford, among others. Joining the participants at the end of the walk was Minister of Health, the Honourable Akila Byron Nisbet, who congratulated them for taking their personal health seriously by taking part in the walk. The Prime Minister's monthly health walks are held under the umbrella of SKN Moves, which is supported by the Federal Ministry of Health. At the end of the walk, Prime Minister Harris thanked members of the Molyneux Keon Cricket Club, who were led by their manager Steve Saunders and coach and veteran cricket player Noel Guichard. The team also included media practitioner LaShawn Dixon, who was last year awarded for being the most consistent player to practice. Prime Minister Harris has been sponsoring the monthly health walk since 2007. In its efforts to be business-friendly and environmentally sustainable, the Ministry of Public Infrastructure is implementing an e-billing system at the St. Kitts Water Services Department. Communications Officer at the Public Works Department, Sharena Warner, made the announcement during the most recent episode of Working for You.
One project that we're undertaking that not only we believe will be something of convenience to our customers, but we also believe that it's eco-friendly, is the e-billing system that we want to implement in the water department. And so we are in the works, we have it in the pipeline, and that being said, we'll also be reactivating our water services department website so that persons are able to go on the website and pay their bills.
Ms. Warner said this would cut down on the amount of paper used at the department, lessening the environmental impact.
This would mean that over time we will steadily decrease the amount of paper bills that we'll be distributing by mail. We understand that there are persons, of course, who they're not tech savvy, and so we can't completely finish away with paper, but the less paper we use, the better it is for us.
The St. Kitts Water Services Department is hopeful that this e-billing service will be implemented shortly. Prime Minister Dr. the Honourable Timothy Harris and Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, as well as the Honourable Eric Evelyn, joined friends, family members and well-wishers on the weekend in celebrating a happy 100th birthday to Nathan Montgomery Sutton. Prime Minister Harris travelled to Nevis bearing gifts as he congratulated the Federation's newest centenarian on reaching such a significant milestone. In a post on his Facebook page, Premier Brantley wrote, quote, "Happy 100th birthday, Mr. Nathan Montgomery Sutton. By God's grace, you're blessed, seeing 1 century here on earth. Praise be to God," end quote. Coming up, we'll have another look at some of the stories from the past week. Stay tuned.
Use your National Bank Visa debit card 5 times or more weekly for a chance to win a $500 shopping spree. Compliments of National Bank. So think twice the next time you want to use cash. Choose your National Bank Visa debit card instead, because you might be the next lucky winner.
What's going on?
Tony Frederick!
You've just won National Bank's Cashless SKN $500 weekly shopping sweepstakes.
Use your National Bank Visa debit card every transaction for a chance to be the next lucky winner.
I've just never won anything before in my life.
Cashless SKN is our new lifestyle choice. National Bank, always here. Always here. Always here.
Former Prime Minister Sir Kennedy Simmons has expressed his sadness on learning of the death of award-winning actress Cicely Tyson. Tyson, whose parents are from Nevis, passed away on Thursday at the age of 96. In an online post, Sir Kennedy was quoted as saying, "Saddened to hear of the passing of the legendary and iconic Hollywood actress Cicely Tyson. Cicely Tyson was born to Nevisian parents and was extremely proud of her Nevisian heritage," end quote. The post continued, quote, She was a very special guest of the St. Kitts Nevis government at independence celebrations in 1983. In 1989, she returned to the Federation, this time bringing Reverend Jesse Jackson in the aftermath of Hurricane Hugo. She was as proud of her heritage as we were of her. Rest in peace, Cicely Tyson, end quote. In an interview with CNN, the Tony and Emmy Award winner said her most important accomplishment happened in 2016 when President Barack Obama awarded her the Medal of Freedom. An autopsy has been performed on the body of a 6-month-old infant who died on Friday, January 22. Resident pathologist Dr. Adrian Nunez, who performed the autopsy on January 25, concluded that the cause of death was hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy due to asphyxia as a consequence of confinement in a closed space, a vehicle. This means death was due to a brain injury caused by oxygen deprivation to the brain. According to reports, the police visited the JNF General Hospital on January 21 after receiving a report that an infant was brought to the accident and emergency room after being left in a car for several hours. Preliminary investigations so far have revealed that the father, who had collected the baby to take her to the nursery, returned to work that morning, and sometime after midday he went back to the vehicle and discovered the baby was still in the back seat. He took the baby to the hospital where she was admitted and warded in intensive care The infant died early the following morning. Investigations into the matter are ongoing. After this weekend, the old ice plant and old stores building owned by the St. Kitts Electricity Company will be no more, as the company made the move to demolish both buildings on the weekend. Here's more.
The company earmarked this weekend for the demolition of the buildings on Central Street and advised persons in the area of McKnight in the vicinity of Frickapere Alley, Central Street and West Woongut that the area would be restricted to the demolition team. General Manager of Skelett Clement Williams told ZIZ News that upon completion, the idea is to turn the space into a parking area, but there may be plans to expand into the lot.
Performers, contestants, and participants of the Sugar Mass 49 celebrations, events, and competitions were rewarded for their accomplishments during the official virtual Sugar Mass prize-giving ceremony on Wednesday. Shanique Harvey has more.
Awards were presented to the runners-up and winners of the various competitions organized by the St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee. These competitions are the Creative Arts Competition, Sugar Scope Competition, Panorama Competition, and the Senior Calypso Monarch Competition. Special awards were presented to Mr. World of Small Axe Band, King Lala, and Lord Cut for their long-standing contributions to Carnival over the years. Minister of Culture Honorable John L. Powell congratulated all the participants and thanked them for their contributions.
Indeed, all of the participants in the various events, we say thank you and congratulations for your splendid performances, and particularly to the winners of the various competitions, as you heard earlier. The Sugar Mass 49 theme, Carnival Celebrations Redefined for Sugar Mass 49, Ms. Sasha Herbert. The various creative art competition winners, Xavier Moraine, Desinique Blois, and Carol Woods. The Sugar Scope Carnival Photography Competition winner, Kyla Sutton. The Christmas Decorating Contest residential winner, Natasha Richen, and our corporate winner, Amri Bakery. The Panorama SKN Competition winners, EBJ Harmonics, and the Senior Kaiso Monarch, Queenie G.
The ceremony also included performances by the 2020 Senior Calypso Monarch Queenie G, King Lala, and Panorama champions EBJ Harmonics. Chair of the National Carnival Committee, Shannon Hawley, spoke about the 50th celebrations of Sugar Mass, noting some new events and features.
There are a number of new initiatives and events that the St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee will be introducing for our 50th anniversary, including my favorite, the Hall of Fame 50. You've already witnessed 3 inductees into this Hall of Fame 50. We will also give the general public the opportunity to vote for their favorite road march song ever. The true definition of a People's Choice road march will be introduced for Sugar Mass 50. Further details on these initiatives, as well as others, will be made public shortly.
She said the committee does not have all the ideas for Sugar Mass 50 and invited the general public to contact the St. Kitts Nevis National Carnival Committee with their ideas and suggestions. Sugar Mass 50 will be celebrated from November 2021 to January 2022. Reporting for ZIZ News, I am Shanique Harvey.
After the break, Jamaica shows improvement in corruption index ranking and hundreds arrested in protests across Russia. Stay tuned.
Here is how I pay my Flow bills using the MyFlow app in just 3 easy steps. First, I downloaded the free app from the App Store. Then, I opened the app and logged in with my Flow ID. I activated my Flow ID earlier for free at flowid.co. I clicked on the account number and watched the magic begin. All my bills and the info right there at my fingertips. Just confirm the payment amount, then card details, and that's it. No trips to town, no long lines, and no hassle. Flow is keeping me connected.
Regionally, Jamaica has shown marginal improvement in its corruption ranking. According to the Corruption Perception Index for 2020, Jamaica placed 69 out of 180 countries. However, the country is also ranked the 5th most corrupt in the Caribbean. More in this report from CVM News.
The Corruption Perception Index is measured from 0 to 100, as 0 being the most corrupt and 100 being the least. The CPI for 2020 has scored Jamaica at 44.
However, the score of 44 is still below the halfway mark, which begs the question, why do citizens view institutions as corrupt? Political scientist and civil society advocate Trevor Monroe says during 2020, there were significant minuses that negated the positives throughout the year.
And emergency contracting procedures were utilized involving hundreds of millions of dollars of public money, more often than not, without adequate justification.
National Integrity Action, NIA, says another issue for the meager improvement are the chronic breaches of the annual reporting requirements mandated by law by scores of budget-funded public bodies and agencies. Only 1 out of 164 public bodies and agencies were current in their annual reports, as noted on the Cabinet Secretary's website. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, called for a competency-based appointment process for public body boards. However, Monroe says this was not observed.
Those regulations placed before Parliament, to his credit, by the Minister of Finance and the government, remain to be approved by Parliament at the end of the year, thereby making public boards continue to be susceptible to cronyism and to nepotism.
Amendments to strengthen the anti-corruption law, making Major Organized and Anti-Crime Agency, MOCA, independent, and the Integrity Commission more transparent are just some of the suggestions Monroe tabled to improve Jamaica's score for 2021. Paige Dixon, CVM Live.
St. Lucia is not suffering from a food shortage. That's according to Agriculture Minister Ezekiel Joseph. As the country grapples with the impact of COVID-19, the minister says the problem is affordability and not availability. More in this HTS News report.
The reality is, I don't think St. Lucia is suffering from food shortages.
Food insecurity and shortage concerns are rising as countries impose lockdowns to curb the spike in infections. Some have argued that St. Lucia should consider growing its own food and decrease the island's high importation bill. Agriculture Minister Ezekiel Joseph says the island needs to determine what it can and cannot grow locally based on imports before that can happen.
We have to do the analysis in a very scientific way and to understand what is it that we are importing that is creating that high food import bill. There's certain things we just cannot grow in St. Lucia. And that is why the ministry, in a strategic way, decided to go with the 7-crop program. Because when you look at the importation of the products coming to St. Lucia, we saw that there were a number of crops that we could grow locally on a sustainable basis, providing the support to our farmers. And the 7-crop program, which is in its final year now, has shown us that we can do it and reduce what we have control over.
Some have also suggested that government move away from tourism and place more emphasis on the agriculture sector. But Joseph says St. Lucia needs a vibrant tourism industry to provide a reliable market for farmers.
The local market, the domestic market, is a small market, right? Especially now with COVID, you have a number of persons going into backyard gardening. So which means the legal space we have as far as local utilizing our products is even more dwindling because a number of persons doing their own backyard. So when I'm hearing that we should forget about the tourism industry and concentrate on feeding ourselves, we are feeding ourselves. The challenge might be now for us, affordability and not availability. And that is the issue. The issue might be affordability because a number of persons now have lost their job because of the COVID situation. So the question is, do they have the resources to be able to buy food the way they used to do before the COVID situation?
The Agriculture Minister adds that without dependable markets, it is difficult for farmers to register profits.
The COVID situation has not helped our farmers, our stakeholders, It has created more problems because market is one of the major link in the agricultural sector. Without a reliable market, you're dealing with a very highly perishable item, and without a reliable market, two things: either farmers will have a lot of spoilage, or they would have to sell under cost of production, and that's not a good business. That's not good business to be selling below your cost of production.
Joseph says job losses and the cultivation of home gardens have also affected the purchase of fruits and vegetables grown by farmers. Colby DeVoe, HDS News Force.
Imagine having the luxury of putting all your trust in one insurance company and being able to enjoy life to the fullest without having to worry. Well, don't imagine. National Caribbean Insurance is here to take care of all your insurance needs. Insure your life, vehicle, boat, home, belongings, and your future. At NCI, we make it our business to ensure that you enjoy every stage in life. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Internationally, Russian police arrested hundreds of protesters on Sunday as activists took to the streets across the country demanding the release of jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. Security forces arrested Yulia Navalnaya, wife of Navalny, at a protest in Moscow, his supporters said on social media. OVD Info, a monitoring group, said more than 300 people were arrested in the capital. Navalnaya was also arrested at a similar demonstration in support of her husband last week. The first rallies took place in the Far East, including the port city of Vladivostok, where protesters gathered in the city's central square, despite police closing it off ahead of the rally. Al Jazeera's Ased Baig reports.
You don't have to stay long at a demonstration in Russia before you might be arrested. Police wasting no time in taking these protesters away. They had been warned.
In the current circumstances, the risk of the protest organizers and active participants' provocations is increasing, and their aim is to violate civil order. In this situation, your personal safety can be under threat. We strongly recommend you to warn your underage children, other relatives and acquaintances from participating in the unauthorized events.
But Alexei Navalny supporters braved the sub-zero temperatures to have their say. These ones, pushed out by police, found themselves onto frozen waters in Vladivostok.
What I'm seeing now is some kind of inadequate reaction. People were coming out peacefully. They were not doing anything illegal. Now there is intimidation. But as you can see, no one is afraid.
The city square is completely blocked off by police, but there is someone there from the protesters, and there are arrests. There aren't many people this time, but police and special forces had prepared in advance and blocked the square.
The Kremlin seems to have been rattled by this latest wave of protests and have adopted a zero-tolerance approach, even putting pressure on online platforms to shut down any talk of demonstrations. Navalny says his poisoning in August last year was state-sanctioned, something the Kremlin has denied. The opposition leader and critic of President Vladimir Putin spent months in Germany recovering. This movement is more than just support for Navalny. It's been a mobilizing call for those frustrated with everything from the economy to long-standing claims of corruption. Navalny's supporters have used social media to spread his views and to organize protests. There have been thousands of arrests across Russia, and with just days to go before Navalny appears in court to face charges of parole violations, the Kremlin is keen to shut down and discredit him and his supporters. Asad Baig, Al Jazeera.
We'll be right back with a recap of the top stories. Stay with us.
Imagine having the luxury of putting all your trust in one insurance company and being able to enjoy life to the fullest without having to worry. Well, don't imagine. National Caribbean Insurance is here to take care of all your insurance needs. Insure your life, vehicle, boat, home, belongings, and your future. At NCI, we make it our business to ensure that you enjoy every stage in life. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Avoid getting the coronavirus. Remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
We now wrap up with a recap of the top stories. Police investigating officer-involved shooting incident. Strong turnout for Prime Minister's monthly health walk. And Water Department to replace paper bills with e-billing process. And that's it for the ZIZ Major Newscast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jason Davis.